Welcome back to our channel, soap fans. Today is a beautiful day to dive into the most explosive, jaw-dropping drama Los Angeles has ever witnessed. We have a massive, game-changing breakdown for you, filled with shocking betrayals and violent showdowns. Grab your favorite snack, buckle up, and let us get right into the heart-pounding madness. The pristine, glass-walled sanctuary of Forrester Creations is about to be painted with blood, betrayal, and shattered vows. A single, damning piece of evidence hidden in the shadows of the CEO office is about to detonate the darkest, most destructive secret of the year, plunging Steffy Forrester, John Finnegan, Ridge Forrester, and Carter Walton into a violent, irreversible collision course. The ticking time bomb of Steffy and Carter's drunken, grief-fueled hookup has finally reached zero, and the resulting explosion will leave nothing but absolute devastation in its wake. The walls of the fashion empire are trembling, and the fallout from this catastrophic revelation will forever alter the lives of everyone involved in this twisted web of deceit. It all begins with a chillingly quiet moment of discovery that will forever alter the landscape of the Forrester dynasty. Ridge Forrester, already highly suspicious of the intense, hushed arguments he recently interrupted between his daughter and his chief operating officer, finds himself pacing the floor of the executive suite. The tension in the room has been palpable for days, a thick, suffocating fog of guilt that Ridge's sharp instincts could not ignore. As he glances down near the plush, expensive sofa, the very sight of the catastrophic betrayal, a glint of metal catches his piercing eye. Hidden just beneath the edge of the furniture lies a single, unmistakable piece of jewelry. Ridge reaches down and retrieves it, his blood running cold as he recognizes the custom engraving. It is Carter Walton's signature cufflink. The implications of this discovery hit Ridge like a runaway freight train. Why would Carter's cufflink be discarded under the sofa in Steffy's office? The rapid-fire calculations in Ridge's mind pieced together the horrifying reality. The awkward deflections, Steffy's dizzying nausea, Carter's desperate attempts to cover their tracks. It all points to a singular, unthinkable truth. The man Ridge trusted like a brother, the man who has served as the moral compass of Forrester Creations, has crossed the ultimate line with his daughter. The fury that begins to boil within the Forrester patriarch is primal, fiercely protective, and absolutely lethal. He realizes that the foundation of his company and his family has been secretly violated by his closest ally. Wasting no time, Ridge summons Steffy into the office, locking the heavy oak doors behind her to ensure there is no escape. What follows is a brutal, relentless interrogation that strips away every defense Steffy has left. Ridge does not hold back, presenting the damning cufflink and demanding the absolute truth, with a voice that trembles with a terrifying mix of rage and heartbreak. He corners her, breaking down her polished, authoritative co-CEO facade with the precision of a father who knows when his child is lying. Steffy, already drowning in toxic guilt and facing the terrifying possibility of a pregnancy that could expose this very nightmare, finds herself completely trapped. The walls are rapidly closing in on her. Unable to carry the suffocating weight of her deception for another agonizing second, Steffy completely breaks down. The tears flow freely, her voice cracking as she drops her defensive posture in pure emotional agony. She confesses everything. She admits to the drunken night of passion, the overwhelming grief over the Sheila disaster in Monaco, and the catastrophic mistake she made with Carter on that very sofa. Steffy sobs uncontrollably, her heart shattering as she verbally admits to destroying the sanctity of her marriage to Finn and betraying Daphne Rose Walton in the most unforgivable way imaginable. The confession pours out of her like a toxic spill, poisoning the very air in the executive office. But the universe has a cruel, twisted sense of timing, and the soap opera gods demand maximum collateral damage. Just as the agonizing confession leaves Steffy's trembling lips, the CEO office doors crack open. Standing in the threshold is John Finnegan, the devoted, loyal husband who flew across the world to save his marriage. The man who has endlessly praised his wife, who stood by her side through the darkest traumas, and who blindly trusted her with his entire soul. Finn hears every single word. The horrifying truth echoes in his ears, paralyzing him in the doorway as his entire reality fractures into a million irreparable pieces. For a fraction of a second, the room falls into a deathly, suffocating silence. Finn's eyes dart from the weeping Steffy to the enraged Ridge, and the devastating realization washes over him with the force of a tidal wave. He has been stabbed in the back by the woman he worships. The agonizing pain of this ultimate betrayal pierces his heart, replacing his unwavering love with a dark, consuming void. Finn has spent months fighting off the toxic influence of his birth mother, Sheila, only to discover that the true monster destroying his family was sleeping in his own bed and working in the office next door. The psychological destruction of John Finnegan is absolute and instantaneous. Before Finn can even process the depth of his immense agony, Ridge's fury erupts in a violent, volcanic explosion. The door swings open wider, and Carter Walton steps into the room, completely unaware of the absolute massacre awaiting him. Ridge does not hesitate. The betrayal of his family's trust, the desecration of his daughter's marriage, and the sheer audacity of Carter's actions trigger a blind, unforgiving rage. Ridge lunges forward, his fist flying through the air, and delivers a sickening, bone-crushing punch straight to Carter's face. The sheer kinetic energy of the blow echoes through the room, a physical manifestation of a father's broken trust. The impact sends Carter stumbling backward, blood instantly pooling in his mouth and staining his pristine designer suit. Ridge screams at his former best friend, hurling accusations of treason and betrayal that cut deeper than any physical wound. Carter, the man who officiated their weddings, who drafted their contracts, and who stood as the pillar of loyalty for the Forrester family, is now reduced to a pathetic traitor. Ridge's physical assault is a manifestation of a father's broken heart, a vicious retribution for the destruction of Steffy's life and the impending devastation of Daphne's world. The brotherly bond between Ridge and Carter is instantly incinerated in the flames of this violent confrontation. But Ridge's devastating punch is merely the opening act of this brutal symphony of violence. As Carter attempts to regain his footing and process the reality that his darkest secret has been exposed, Finn completely snaps. The gentle, compassionate doctor, a man who has dedicated his entire life to healing and protecting others, is instantly consumed by a feral, uncontrollable rage. The pain of being deceived, the agonizing betrayal, and the sheer humiliation of his wife sleeping with another man transform Finn into a wild, untamed beast. With a guttural, terrifying roar, Finn charges across the room, launching himself at Carter with lethal, unadulterated intent. Finn tackles Carter with the force of a runaway locomotive, driving him into the glass table and sending fashion sketches and crystal decanters crashing to the floor in a symphony of destruction. The CO office instantly becomes a bloody war zone. Finn unleashes months of pent-up trauma, the lingering Sheila nightmare, and the raw, unadulterated agony of a broken heart into every single strike. He rains down a barrage of vicious, unforgiving punches upon Carter, screaming in agony as he demands to know how they could do this to him. The sheer brutality of Finn's assault is terrifying, a visceral display of a man whose soul has been violently ripped from his chest. In a shocking display of agonizing guilt and psychological martyrdom, Carter Walton does not raise a single hand to defend himself. He absorbs every brutal blow, every bone-jarring strike, accepting the violent punishment as his rightful, inescapable penance. Carter knows that he has destroyed his own life, shattered his marriage to Daphne, and ruined the lives of the people he cares about most in this world. The physical pain inflicted by Ridge and Finn is absolutely nothing compared to the agonizing remorse tearing at his conscience. He takes the beating willingly, a tragic, bloody sacrifice on the altar of his own catastrophic, drunken mistakes. Watching the absolute carnage unfold before her tear-filled eyes, Steffy is paralyzed by a nightmare of her own making. She screams in pure, unadulterated terror, her voice echoing through the halls of Forrester Creations like a siren of doom. She drops to the floor, sobbing hysterically as the two most important men in her life, her fiercely protective father and her deeply devoted husband, tear apart the man she foolishly sought comfort in. The psychological trauma of witnessing this violent retribution breaks Steffy completely, leaving her drowning in a sea of despair, self-hatred, and inescapable panic. Her pristine world has been violently ripped apart. The once pristine CEO office is now a scene of absolute destruction, perfectly mirroring the shattered lives of everyone involved in this tragic narrative. Blood stains the expensive imported rugs, shattered glass covers the polished floor, and the suffocating air is thick with the metallic scent of violence and betrayal. Steffy's desperate, guttural cries for them to stop fall on entirely deaf ears, as Finn's feral rage continues to blind him to anything but his desperate need for vengeance. The very foundation of the Forrester dynasty is cracking under the weight of this brawl, and the fallout from this catastrophic confrontation will send massive shockwaves through the entire global fashion industry. This is no longer just a dirty little secret. It is a full-blown public massacre that will spare absolutely no one. The echoes of this violent fight will inevitably reach Daphne Rose Walton, who has just returned to Los Angeles ready to repair her fragile marriage, completely oblivious to the horrifying fact that her husband is currently being beaten to a pulp for sleeping with her best friend. And what happens when the dust finally settles on this bloody office floor? What happens if Steffy's terrifying pregnancy scare turns out to be a horrifying reality? The stakes have never been higher, and the collateral damage will be absolute and unforgiving. Finn's unwavering devotion has been cruelly weaponized against him, and the deep psychological scars from this ultimate betrayal will forever alter his moral compass. Will the good doctor ever be able to look at Steffy the same way again? Or has his love been permanently replaced by a dark, simmering resentment? Will Ridge Forrester ever find it in his heart to forgive Carter Walton for crossing the ultimate, forbidden line? The Forrester family is entirely built on loyalty and legacy, but this single, catastrophic, drunken mistake has ignited a raging inferno that threatens to burn their entire empire to the absolute ground. As Carter lies battered and bruised on the floor, accepting his violent fate, the power dynamics of Los Angeles are shifting in real time. Steffy's desperate screams will haunt the halls of Forrester Creations for years to come, a chilling reminder of the night her perfect facade completely shattered. The dramatic tension is currently at an all-time high, and the upcoming episodes promise to deliver even more jaw-dropping twists as the survivors of this brutal confrontation attempt to navigate the smoldering, bloody ruins of their intertwined lives. No one walks away from this CEO office showdown unscathed. Will Finn's feral rage end Carter's life? And can Steffy survive this ultimate betrayal? Drop your wildest theories in the comments below and subscribe for our next explosive breakdown.